students at UFAZ, they are receiving both Azerbaijani diploma and French diploma, which is a good opportunity to put them on the international stage. They can carry on their research, or they can enter much more easily international companies, and they can also bring back to Azerbaijan, which is our wish, they can bring back a larger experience. We started this long journey of UFAZ, the French Azerbaijani University, which began 10 years ago already, and which is reaching its maturity now, because we started with a bachelor, foundation level, license 0 as we call it, and then master, and PhD level, doctorate level. So now we start to have our young students that are getting out of their doctorate studies, which is the aim of UFAZ. It is to have the full curricula from bachelor to PhD and young Azerbaijani researchers. So, I mean, this project was founded between France and Azerbaijan two presidency, and thanks to the help of the Azerbaijan Republic State Oil and Industry University, AZI, as the old people are still calling this university, and the University of Strasbourg, we could create this specific university project. So UFAZ, it is not an autonomous university, it is a small university under the governance of AZI, AZOU, and the scientific governance of Strasbourg University. And we started with specific topics: chemistry, chemical engineering, computer sciences, geosciences, and slowly we started also, while speaking with different stakeholders, especially AZI, but also some agencies here in Azerbaijan, we started to think about the creation of a water resource and management curricula. Linked with geosciences, of course, we have this department of geosciences from the beginning, bachelor, but also related to the dynamics here in Azerbaijan, which are linked to environmental studies, hydrology, sustainability, and we thought that within the last years, Azerbaijan is taking a lead role in the region, but also internationally, as last year we had here in Azerbaijan in Baku the COP29, and the COP29 was not only one single event, it is something that launched the real stage of this Azerbaijani policy on the international level. As I told, we are now a mature university, and we are always adapting our curricula to the needs of Azerbaijan. And I should stress that those curricula are not easy to build up. It's a cooperation between two universities, two main universities, and with different systems. So we have specific governance committees speaking to each other in order to build up this curricula, framing them for Azerbaijani students to be able to follow them, but also for the Strasbourg University to give the diploma. Because at the end of the bachelor, at the end of the master, or at the end of the doctorate, students at UFAZ, they are receiving both Azerbaijani diploma and French diploma, which is a good opportunity to put them on the international stage. They can carry on their research, or they can enter much more easily international companies, and they can also bring back to Azerbaijan, which is our wish, they can bring back a larger experience. So, I mean, all the system is built like this, and why we open finally water and resource management in UFAZ, at UFAZ, it is because, as I told you, the system in Azerbaijan is getting more and more looking towards a larger clean economy, a larger clean energy, with a huge investment in this field from Azerbaijani state, and we want also to be part of this evolution, which is a very positive evolution. And we started to think with different stakeholders, and especially, and I should thank the state, Azerbaijani State Agency, Water Resources Agency, which is backing up this new master at UFAS, helping us to build the curricula according to the needs, according to the educational needs in Azerbaijan. So we spent maybe 2 years, maybe a bit more than 2 years, building up this curricula with our French experts and the experts from the Azerbaijani State Water Resource Agency in order to have something fitting the actual needs and the future needs in Azerbaijan. And it is sure that if you look at Azerbaijani map, you do see that with the Caspian Sea, with the mountains, the question of hydrology, water resource, is very, very important. Besides, when you look at water resource management, it's not only one discipline field. It's not only one scientific field. It is something bringing together lots of different disciplines. Chemistry, of course, for, let's say, water analysis. I mean, basic water analysis, daily water analysis, or much more evolved type of analysis, soil analysis, water going through the soil, getting polluted by some natural or anthropomorphic pollutant, and so on and so on. And also, that's why we are shaping this curricula in a very somehow hard scientific way. It is not management as a policy. We have in the curricula some balance between hard sciences, soft skills, and also management as a policy maker. But there is some specific curricula in Azerbaijan as well, which are much more towards the policy and political administration of water resource management. We are much more on the hard field. We are much more looking for engineering solutions. We are much more looking at geological problematics, especially the ones that are related to Azerbaijan and the region, because the water do not know any borders. It comes from the sky, from the clouds. It is going in riverbeds, so it is crossing all the border. That's why there is this part of the policy, management of water between neighbors, countries, and there is also the main question of how to bring chemistry, how to bring geosciences together in order to look at the problematic of the water in the region. And it is not something easy. It is not something easy to understand. We are, in academy, much more framed by specific discipline. Everybody in its own discipline box. And with water resource, we need to open all the boxes and put everybody around the table in order to solve some problematics. That's why it is quite difficult to build up, because you need different skills. That's why also it is very difficult for the students to catch up, because they need to have this capacity to understand chemistry, but also mathematics, modelization, and that's what we are creating at UFAS. In fact, from the very beginning, if you start at UFAS, you will have different type of lessons, not only in one single discipline. So we are working on a model which is interdisciplinary, in order for the students to be able to cope with the new challenges. And the new challenges, energy, water, environment, climate changes, needs to be cope with different disciplines. You cannot have one solution. To have a solution, you need to bring lots of different way of looking at the problem. That's why you cannot have one student specifically good in computer science solving the problem of water or climate change. But you will need modelization, you will need IT systems to back up a huge amount of data. It can be data from the sky, satellite, which is very, very, very important in water resource management, or largely environmental studies. But also you will need to cope and you will need to deal with lots of data coming from samples, soil samples, water samples, and so on and so on and so on. And all those data need to be processed. So that's why in our curricula we do have mathematics, we do have computer sciences, and we do have also the main basic as physics, chemistry, and geosciences, of course. So that's the way we are working at UFAS. And so we started this master in water resource and management this year. It started beginning of September. It's a big challenge for us because, as I told, it's not easy for the students to think, okay, I will enter this new curricula. It is something that we don't know that much about. How will I find a job at the end? And we are telling them it is the right way because maybe right now it is more easy to go to chemistry and petrochemistry to find a job. But the problematic is moving towards more and more environmental studies and more, especially for the region, the Caspian region, more and more studies on the water resources, which will be the key for the future of the region. And so we are explaining that, and we are explaining, okay, you are now engaged in one specific curricula which will give you access to future jobs. In fact, it's not only future jobs. Maybe the market, as the market is a little bit low now in Azerbaijan, but if you are out of our curricula with a master, if you carry on with a PhD in water resource, hydrology, geosciences, you will find jobs all around the world, and very, very good jobs, because it is the issue, it is the main problematic now. How we will deal with our changing environment, how we will deal with carbon sequestration. For example, for Azerbaijan, it's an important question because we have all those oil reservoirs which will be empty one day, and we have the capacity to use those reservoirs. Maybe it is a problematic. It is something that needs to be looked at. But maybe Azerbaijan can also start to think about carbon sequestration in old oil reservoirs. And those are the future jobs. Those are the leading jobs of tomorrow. And it starts today, of course. It starts today. That's why maybe right now, for a student, it is not that much easy to think, okay, I will invest myself and involve myself in such a curricula. But it will open doors for wonderful career and wonderful future, and a future that is personally quite nice. I mean, you know that you are part of the game changers. You know that your job is quite important for your friends, your family, and for everybody. It's not a basic job to work in hydrology, in water resource and management. It's a job that gives hopes, which is also something quite important nowadays.